Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm Wes Decker. As always, it's great to have you along this week. Coming up on the show, we got Williamsport boys soccer and Smithsburg golf to talk before we're finished. But we start with football as we normally do, and that means joining me now is Herald Mail insider Bob Parsiliti. Welcome to the show, Bob.
How you doing, Wes? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing great. Last week's football started on Thursday. Week 7 got underway at St. James with the Saints hosting Central Maryland Christian. And for the third time this season, St. James established a new single-game scoring record as the Saints rang up 48 unanswered points in the middle quarters to blow open what was a 14-7 contest after the opening period. Cole Menas with 4 more touchdown passes. He now has 10 in 4 games as a starter. He's now 3-1 as a starter. Jalen Anderson, another 200-plus yard rushing game, his second of the season, scoring 2 more touchdowns. He's now over 1,000 yards for the season and has scored 15 TDs on the ground this year. St. James will put its 5-2 record up against 5-1 Flint Hill this Saturday when they travel to Oakton, Virginia. Now, as for Friday's football at North Hagerstown High School, the Hubs were at home, Callis Stadium the place, and oddly enough, for the second time this year, Boonsboro making a trip there. Warriors were already 1-0, but the home team didn't give in at all. As a matter of fact, North put up quite the resistance in the first half. Boonsboro would win it 44-20. But North still showing signs that it's becoming a better team.
Well, North keeps, like you said, keeps making strides. The thing I seem to catch with them is they do very well in the first half, and in the second half, after the adjustments and after maybe a little bit of fatigue sets in, that's where everything kind of falls apart. And when you're a young team and you're not really certain about everything, and have that confidence, you get beat up a couple of times there, and you kind of lose the edge maybe a little bit.
And the second half was really all about Zach Grams for Boonsboro. The battering ram is our Buffalo Wild Wings Player of the Week. He helped turn the tables in that second half without question. The Boonsboro fullback carrying the ball 14 times for over half of his 279 yards for the game in the third quarter alone, and finished the night with 3 touchdowns, 2 in a second half during which the Warriors shut out the Hubs 27-0. So to your point, obviously, Boonsboro, the team that made the adjustments at halftime. Number 41, by the way, now has 1,037 yards rushing and 13 touchdowns through 7 games this year. Over on the North Hagerstown side, of note, defensive lineman Michael Stevens sets a school record with 24 tackles for North in that game. Boonsboro now 6-1. Will play at 4-3 South Carroll on Friday, while 1-6 North plays its final home game of the year against a fellow 1-win opponent in Frederick. And the Cadets will come in licking their wounds after absorbing a 46-0 loss at home to Williamsport, Bob. And before the season started, head coach Tim Small told me that, this was a group he thought that would go out and be capable of putting on a show this season. And I think in that game in particular, and if you look at the highlight reel for the season, I mean, guys like Jacob Ball, Jake Arnone, Noah Hamburg, Kayvon Carter, they've all had some plays this year where you look at them and say they're spectacular, but to put together an effort like they did, and I know Frederick isn't a world beater, but at the same time, big confidence booster and a huge win heading into a game against South Hagerstown where they'll truly need some momentum.
Well, they have done some great things. It just seems like they don't pull them all together. They do just enough to get by in a lot of cases. Outside of that win against Berkeley Springs earlier in the year, Jake Arnone came back over from soccer to play football again. He's been a great addition. They knew what they had with Kayvon Carter. Jacob Bell, he had kind of in question because of the year before, last year, because he got hurt early, didn't play most of the season. So a lot of things have come together, and they've gone places so far.
Yeah, it was Williamsport's second 40-plus point romp of the year by shutout. As you mentioned, the Berkeley Springs game being the other one, which pushes the record to 4-3. And as I mentioned, South Hagerstown, the opponent coming up this week, and the Rebels will need to refocus following a valiant yet unsuccessful venture against Fort Hill. And first of all, what a crowd on hand at School Stadium for that game. Boy, it's been a long time since we've seen a crowd like that there. Fort Hill wins 27-13. The South got the jump, got out to a 6-0 lead, came back then and took a 13-7 lead, but Fort Hill was just a machine. I mean, churning out all of those yards, 442 of them total.
Well, the thing that struck me about this game was when I saw them play last year up at Fort Hill showed a lot of speed. They showed a lot of just that they took a South team that was pretty good and really made them look ordinary. This year, they were happy playing, I think, just that heavy ball, that one where they're just beating up on each other, whoever's got show who's got more, And I think the turning of the tide is that they score 3 of their touchdowns on this inside misdirection play, 2 of them on like double reverse type handoff situations, and they scored on all of them. South was there. South did a great job holding their own. It was just that they just couldn't match that big play capability.
And Coach Peer said as much. It was just the big plays that really were the difference in the game. And again, you hate to keep beating the same drum, but it's true, even though we have week number 8 coming up this week, still just a very young South team that we didn't expect to even be able to stay in games like they did against Fort Hill, let alone have the lead twice.
Well, yeah, and I mean, they play together is a big thing. And there's not really that guy that says that I'm the star, I mean, they all kind of blend together. You have a sophomore quarterback for the majority of the time here in Timmy Townsend. He does some things, but he makes some mistakes. The running game is kind of okay. It doesn't have the speed that it had last year, but it gets the hard yards. And they do a lot of things. I mean, they're more of a ball possession team this year than they've ever been.
And Coach Peer gave Fort Hill all the credit it deserves, saying that's the best team that he's ever faced as the head coach at South Hagerstown. And the Rebels, again, now 4-3 overall, with Williamsport coming up this week, and that should be an interesting game. As for the Clear Spring Blazers, who are another team like South, amazingly enough, is giving up more points than it's scoring per game this year. Clear Spring very much in that trend too, given that coming into last week they were allowing nearly 4 touchdowns more than they were scoring per game. Now they kept last week pretty close against Berkeley Springs for the most part, winding up losing in the end 42-28. Got a huge game from Joe McCoy at running back, 222 yards and 2 touchdowns, which was the good news. The bad news, 1 game-ending ankle injury. I did have some correspondence with Coach Bathgate this week, early in the week. He said it was not a broken ankle, fortunately for McCoy, but it was a sprain. We'll see whether he's able to play this week, but Clear Spring drops to 2-5. We'll host 2-5 Southern Garrett coming up on Friday. And then on Saturday, it was kind of an unexpected final for Smithsburg against Brunswick. Not necessarily the final score, 52-14 Smithsburg, although that's a ton of points by a Smithsburg team that hadn't been scoring a lot of points this year with the exception of the previous week. But just the way that they did it, I mean, for instance, Corey Jackson, who had run the ball 3 times all year, scores 4 touchdowns on Saturday for the Leopards.
Well, he came in, when I talked to him, he said he came in because of some cramping issues and from some of the players, and they stuck him in. His first carry, he got nothing. But his next 2 ended up in touchdowns, and as he got a little more comfortable, he was like kind of like the fullback that Scott was last year. Bryce Scott was last year. He was, getting the tough yards on the inside, moving people around, and it was wide open in there against Brunswick because Smithsburg had a nice time running to the outsides a lot. They did a lot of sweeping to spread that defense out, and it all worked. And
the Smithsburg defense looking like the Smithsburg defense of last year. 4 interceptions for a D that had only 5 coming into the game against Brunswick.
They had 3 of them in a 6-minute span that basically turned that quarter around.
Yeah, it was a 15-14 game early in the third before all of that happened. Smithsburg now will try to make it a 3-game winning streak when they play at 6-1 Haverty Grace on Friday. Well, that's football for this week. Bob, thank you very much. I'll be back right after this with the final touch on football for this week. The Hancock football players. Hancock in the win column. I'll talk to 3 of the players who got it done on Friday when you come back.
Champions are not merely born, they're forged in the crucible that is flag football. With equal parts turf, pigskin, and heart. That's why Buffalo Wild Wings donates to boys and girls clubs across the country to not only help thousands of kids learn about teamwork on and off the field, but to help them fulfill their destiny. To shred defensive lines, terrorize the secondary, and emerge bonded as true champions.
At Hagerstown Ford, we charge less, period. We're the largest Ford store in the tri-state area. Number one for only one reason. We charge less, period. Hagerstown Ford delivers. We'll bring your new ride to you and do the whole deal sitting at your kitchen table. Easy peasy. Get more for your trade, easy on-the-spot financing, and the lowest prices on the East Coast guaranteed. And if we can't beat their deal, we'll buy that car for you. Hagerstown Ford, we charge less, period.
Welcome back to the show. We continue with more football now, and I'm joined by three Hancock Panthers who ended a 7-game losing streak on Friday night. Man, that had to feel good. Devin McCarty, Cameron Castle, and Ian Mann all join me now. And guys, let's talk about this a little bit. A 59-14 win, Ian, over 100. And it was a game that was very interesting because it took 2 plays and 52 seconds for 100 to take the lead.
Yeah.
But then you guys responded almost right away. A minute and 34 seconds later, 32-yard touchdown run by you, and all of a sudden the team is off on what turns out to be an avalanche of points, 59 points in that game. What made you believe that this team kind of had that point production in it this season?
Well, we've been working really hard every single week. Every week we've been practicing harder and harder. And the younger kids, we have a very young team. We just needed leadership, and this past 2 weeks we've been showing real good leadership from from our older guys, and it's been making these younger kids want to step up and want to work harder, and it really showed this week because they put everything out there this week, and they had the great mindset going into the game, and we knew we could win. We knew we could win, so we had everything going for us.
Now, did that put any dent in your confidence early when they scored, or did that just kind of stoke the fire a little bit that, hey, we're going to show them that we're the better team here tonight?
Yeah, it just kind of fueled the fire. Like, they obviously can score against us, so we need to step up even more and try to prevent this team from scoring again. We need to try harder to score against them. We knew we had to play hard. We can't just walk on there and think we're going to win and just go through the motions.
Yeah, 3 touchdown runs for you and 72 yards alone on those touchdown runs on Friday night. And Cameron, the defense had a big role in that game in really shutting 100 down, aside from that first score early on. 4 turnovers forced, 3 interceptions, and those interceptions, all 3 of them had a very common thread, and that happened to be you hitting the quarterback as he let it go. Tell me about your game on Friday night and how you were able to get to the quarterback and put pressure on him so often.
Well, I mean, mostly to start off, you have to want it. Like, you just got to go up there and know that you're going to show them, you're not just going to back down. And right from the beginning when they scored on us, it kind of hit, us as a whole team. You got up there, and then right there it just showed us that, they were here to beat us. They had every reason to think they could beat us. But you had to just fight back, and when you pressured them, you got a little pressure on them and everything, they make mistakes, and you just had to keep fighting back, keep doing everything you could to make them have to move quick, do something they didn't want to. You just had to do your best, and then one person starts doing it, someone else on your team will pick up on it, and it just starts becoming a team of 11. So.
Tell me a little bit about another role you play on this team, the kicker, because you're a lineman, and you don't necessarily see linemen usually kick. 3 extra points you made on Friday night, but tell me about that role and how all of that came about.
Well, usually, this is my first year ever being in line in high school football. I was kind of needed at the position, and, I thought I could do it, so I was like, you know what, as long as I can benefit the team. Well, then kicking came around after being in line. I was like, you know what, I can do that too. So everything kind of fell together. I became kicker, and yeah, I know it's a little bit of not something you see too often, but.
Well, you seem like you enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It gives me something to do, keeps me in there.
Now, Devin, along with Ian, you comprise a pretty good duo out of the backfield for Hancock, especially on Friday night. A couple of touchdown runs. What made it all come together for you and the team on Friday night that you were able to put all of these points on the board?
Well, I think normally in the games that we have, whenever something goes bad, I like to call it, we start snowballing, and whenever someone feels like it's going bad for them, someone sees them and they feel like, we can't do anything. But in this game, since we were doing really, really well, our line and everyone together was doing what they needed to do, and it helped our back line actually do it. It helped them do what they needed to do to score, But you can't have that unless you have the front line doing what they need to do. So like on my instances, whenever I was running in, we had the blocks in all the right places. Everyone was going where they needed to go. The holes were there, and the running back could choose where they needed to go and choose rightly and make something good come out of it.
What gives you the confidence to believe now that you can put together back-to-back wins? I mean, you have to really feel good after the victory, but you have to look forward, obviously, to this week in Massanutten Military Academy.
Yeah. Well, before, if we would have lost this game, it would have been the same thing every week. People coming into the game thinking we might lose this because we don't, like previous games, it's gonna be a redo. And this week, we had that big win. It kind of felt really well. I know it felt really good to everybody. It felt really good. So we know that Massanutten is also a team we've competed with every single time before. So we know we can come in and do pretty well against them too, and probably going to play our hardest. And we know what we have to do now because we knew what we did, what we had to do. It showed. We played really well, and we'll do it again. I think it'll be a good outcome.
Well, congratulations on the win over 100. I know it had to be a big relief for three guys who are seniors on this team, too, to get win number one. And best of luck going after a win number 2 coming up on Friday, guys. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
I'll be back right after this. I've got some Williamsport boys soccer with Coach Chris Downs. I'll be talking to him when you come back.
Have you ever felt like you were up to your neck in alligators when trying to buy a used car? They promise you one thing, but don't deliver.
The payment is $100 more than you said. As is? If it's such a great car, why is it as is? I'm going to High-Low Auto Sales. See you later, alligator.
When buying a car, don't try to wrestle with alligators.
Let the pros at High-Low worry about your credit. Hurry into High-Low Auto Sales, where you always get a 6-month, 6,000-mile warranty. Go to highlawautosales.com today.
Hamilton Nissan made buying my new Nissan Rogue an easy decision. Every car they sell automatically comes with their Hamilton for Life program. With it, I get free oil changes, free tire rotations, free car washes, and Hamilton's limited lifetime engine guarantee. And this mom didn't pay a dime for that peace of mind. It completely took the worrying out of car buying, and it's keeping my family on schedule, and we have a lot of places to go.
The Hamilton for Life program, getting you where you need to go.
Welcome back to the show. We continue now with boys soccer, Williamsport boys soccer at that. Coach Chris Downs joins me now. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me back, Wes.
No problem. Hey, it's been a terrific season to this point, a 10-2-1 record through Saturday's result. And last week was kind of a roller coaster of results and emotions for your team, starting on Monday with the rematch against Clear Spring, the team that you lost to in the county championship final. So take me through last week and the way that played out in your mind.
Well, I think, the biggest thing was on Monday, we really stressed to the kids and they let that loss go pretty quickly. It was just about keeping one game at a time and keeping our region standing solidified. Fortunately, we were able to come out really quick and essentially take care of their offense and deal with that. Played a great game overall. Then had to go to Jefferson on Thursday. That was kind of a tough trip. We had Mountain Ridge on Saturday, and I think, we came out a little flat. But they have two pretty talented players that we had to deal with. And so, both of them bit us. And, we weren't without opportunities. And that's kind of what we told them. As flat as we were or as off as we were, we still had the opportunities. So that was the thing to take into Saturday. And, with Mountain Ridge and Clear Spring, there really isn't too much you need to do to talk to them to get them up for those two games. So again, really quick first 20 minutes, we put 4 in, probably the best 40 that I've seen us play all year. So, it was a good week from that standpoint, and it didn't really do much to hurt us because Middletown hasn't lost. So, that beating Mountain Ridge really solidified that second seed, and we're going to have the first home game in the playoffs in the last 3 years. So we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, you have to be excited about that, to have things on your own terms a little bit for once and be able to dictate that just a little bit. And I saw you tweeted out after the Jefferson match, not our best effort, but we'll be better on Saturday against Mountain Ridge. Promise kept there as far as that's concerned. And with Mountain Ridge, is there any concern now as we look toward the playoffs, the fact that you just played them and you'll get them again as your first opponent in the playoffs?
Sure. I mean, Tim Nightingale's a great coach. He's going to probably dissect and analyze and lose sleep just like I do after a loss. And I'm sure he'll have something to throw at us to deal with it. You know, I just think at home and, you know, with the way we played, I think we can be the better team, and I'm really hoping that environment works for us and, you know, getting our fans out there. And again, like I said, it's the first time we've had a home playoff game in 3 years, and we've gone up to Mountain Ridge probably, 4 or 5 times now. So I think having them make the trip this time and all that goes with that hopefully works to our favor.
Yeah, it feels good to get that balanced out a little bit,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
absolutely.
Although there's still a little ways to go there, as you point
absolutely.
out. All season long, you've kind of been using that hashtag win as one. Can you explain that a little bit? I mean, is it as simple as it sounds, or is there more behind that?
Well, you know, it's just everybody doing their part. You know, I said in the beginning of the year that our depth was going to be the thing that really kind of distinguished us from everybody else. You know, we've lost Trevor Canode for a little while, and, you know, when the coaches kind of get together and see what he does that we need to replicate, you know, we kind of came to the decision really quickly that, well, nobody else does what he does. So we've kind of changed things around a little bit, and that has helped us, you know, kind of keep that mindset. Next person up, you know, everybody's involved. Team wins that we've been having, people have been getting playing time, and the pressure's kind of off one person. You know, we have 11 different players that have scored this year.
Yeah.
So you can't really key on one of us, which again is sort of that whole mindset of being one.
And the playoff draw will officially be announced on Monday. What are the challenges within the region as you see them right now?
Well, I mean, Mountain Ridge is no cakewalk, obviously. And, you know, there aren't any easy games in 2A West.
Yeah.
You know, I've said for a long time that it's probably the most competitive region out of any of them. The other side, Section 2, with the Carroll County schools and the Howard County schools, again, it's a jumbled mess over there, and any one of them could come out. So, and that's going to be another challenge. If we were fortunate enough to get past the section, that's a tough game you have to deal with. So, again, it's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. So this week we want to make sure that we're not taking any steps backward.
Yeah, are you talking to your guys about the playoffs at all at this point, or with 2 games remaining as we tape this, are those the games that you're most focused on?
Yes and yes. It's kind of, you know, you mention it only in terms of, okay, we are the number 2 seed now. That's not going to change. So the conversation then becomes, okay, now we got to focus on the 2 games ahead of us because, like I said, we don't want to take a step backwards heading into that. We want to be playing our best.
And the team is unbeaten in 6 of its last 7 games. Your experience as a head coach, what does that tell you when you go into the playoffs? Do you need all of that momentum coming in? Is it very tough to just flip a switch all of a sudden? Or do you feel good with where you are right now?
Yeah, I do. You know, the one thing that we've been saying is I don't think we've put 80 together yet of our best minutes. You know, we've certainly had really good stretches. I think we've been very competitive with tougher teams. But at the same time, yeah, you do want to have a little bit of momentum. The last thing you want to happen is to have an off night and then have to turn around and, you know, now it's on. You want to have some momentum going in there, definitely.
And what in your mind will be the biggest key in terms of success once you get to the play? Is there something that you still need to sort of solidify at this point that you think will be something that could carry you over the top?
I think just, you know, keeping in that mindset, using our players, getting guys minutes, rotating as we can, because we have a lot of versatility and we have a lot of depth. So I think I'm still beating that drum from the beginning of the year, and that's been successful for us all year. So things don't need to get too crazy.
Yeah.
You know, we don't really need to change the formula. We're kind of adapting to that, and life probably without Trevor. So that's happening, and we need to keep that focus going forward.
Well, congratulations on the season to this point, and best of luck ahead, and thanks for being here.
Thanks very much, Wes. I appreciate it.
I'll be back right after this, going to talk a little bit about the upcoming Golf State Tournament, which begins next Monday. That's next when you come back.
Tony's Pizza in Williamsport has had the same simple philosophy since 1985. Start with simple products. Sauce from the best Italian tomatoes, the best cheese and dough made fresh every day. Then mix those with a great atmosphere, and you'll have the best dining experience you can find. Tony's is known for their pasta dishes, subs, pizzas, and specialty items like their Nutella Dots and the famous Crazy Tony. Simply put, they want to give the best food they can give to their customers. So stop in today to Tony's Pizza in Williamsport.
It's here. It's breathtaking. It's ultra fast. Gigabit internet. Fiber to your home. Fiber to your business. And Tatum Cable, making Hagerstown a gigabit city.
Welcome back to the show. Well, the first fall sport to crown its state champions will do so next week. That would be golf, and Wednesday will be the big day. The question is, just how big a day could it potentially be for the county? Since the state tournament began in 1971, Washington County has had just 3 teams make it to the finals. Boonsboro in 1994, and Smithsburg in 2002, and again in 2005 when the Leopards captured the only team title the county has ever brought home from College Park. After narrowly missing out on qualifying as a team each of the last 3 years, Smithsburg earned its way into the state tourney this year by placing 3rd in the 2A-1A District 1 championships back in September. Next Tuesday, juniors Brett Bale and Mark Nee, along with seniors Alden and Brooks Grosh, will venture to the University of Maryland, hoping to play well enough to come back on Wednesday and vie for the school's and the county's 2nd state team title. Brooks, who stepped up his game this year to help the team get there, puts playing for all the state marbles in perspective.
I think it's a great honor. I mean, I know a lot of our sports don't be able to have this kind of honor to go, but to be going as a team, it feels great to be representing our whole school more than just one person, because it feels like we're all trying to put in work to accomplish something great.
And Bale confidently echoes those sentiments.
It's a major accomplishment, and I know with the team that we have, we're very capable of making it to the 2nd day. Just everyone has to do their job, and we should be able to do it.
Like the reigning Inside Sports Golfer of the Year, Alden Grosh has made 2 previous trips to the big stage, including shooting an 87 in her first round at States as a sophomore. It's no wonder then that she's the go-to player on the team when questions arise.
They asked me for advice, what should I do on this hole, what's the grass like, questions about all that kind of stuff and how to play and what's manageable.
While twin brother Brooks is excited about his first trip, he's remaining level-headed about what he needs to do for the team to be successful.
Out at States, we definitely need to play all the safe kind of shots. We can't be all excited to be up at tee and forget that we need to do the best that we can and play it safe and make sure we can make it to the 2nd day.
Bale played on the 2nd day last year and carded the best 2-day total of any county golfer, one good for 23rd overall. This year, he's seeking to improve on that placing and is anxious to get started.
I'm looking forward to it. I've been putting a lot of hours of practice in, and I'm looking for a top 10 finish this year. That would be the main goal. And for our team to get to the 2nd day, that would be great also.
And so would closing out her high school career with a state tournament to remember. Alden feels like she's ready to make some memories.
I'm feeling really good. My short game's improved a lot, and I'm hitting my drives and my irons at least 10 yards further than I did last year, and I think I'm really prepared this year.
And prepared the Leopards will need to be to unseat the 4-time defending 1A, 2A state champs from Marriott's Ridge. The county will also have 2 individual players in action when the 3A, 4A portion of the tournament gets underway on Monday. North Hagerstown senior J.J. Clemmer will seek to close his career by improving on a 30th place finish a year ago. He'll be joined by South Hagerstown junior Will Stoey, who's battled back from a shoulder injury that sidelined him in 2015 to make it to states for the first time. Good luck to all of our county golfers next week. And on the topic of golf, all of us here at Inside Sports wish the Herald Mail's Tim Kelby a speedy recovery after undergoing a double lung transplant. Tim is reportedly doing very well, and we all hope to see his stories and columns in the paper and his face right back here on the show very soon. Thanks for choosing to look at my face this week. You know you really are sick, but I appreciate that. Next time, the soccer playoff draws highlight the program. See you then on the Inside.
Hey, your sisters and your brothers, your haters and your lovers, you gotta get up in the streets.